Welcome everyone. I am Dr. Kanta Niranjan, a consultant physician from London. I am very privileged to introduce Dr. Menaca Pothalingam today to this great platform to meet you all. This is your platform. Menaca is a great inspiration to us by her passion in supporting the people with different walks of lives, giving them the support by her excellent coaching skills to overcome depression, loneliness, and to gain confidence. She is a great motivational speaker and a complete inspiration to me. I came across Menaca as an accident in a function, and now I need to have to chat to her at least for 1 minute every day. That is how she has inspired me, even though I'm quite a senior physician in UK. To support me in my day-to-day busy and challenging time of the life. Today, this is your platform to listen to her. During her talk, please be unmuted, and then you can mute yourself to ask questions. Everyone will be given an opportunity, but please make sure you have 2 minutes to raise the question. All of you will be given a chance. Please raise your hand, and you are given the privilege either to identify yourself or be anonymous, and we will endeavor to address all the questions of the audience. I'm now going to hand over to Rohan Mehra. I want to say a few words about him. He's born and brought up in Mumbai and have been in London for 2 years. He has got more than 11 years experience in soft skill corporate training and also have taught across various universities in India and UK. He is he's a certified, Pearson certified trainer and have an alumni of IIM. He's very passionate about public speaking and have been the president of the Harrovian Toastmaster Club UK. He's currently working on a research paper on marketing strategies of Asian companies in UK and a huge promoter of importance of mental well-being. And he's a big fan, like me, of the work of Dr. Menaca. I'll hand over to Rohan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kanta, for those lovely words. I guess you set the ball rolling in a beautiful way. Thank you so much for that. Moving on for today's session, just a few basic rules that I would want to start with, as Dr. Kanta already put that across. This forum is all about openness. This forum is all about expressing your thoughts. But we would request you to please keep yourself on mute when the entire session between Dr. Menaca and me is on. Post the session, we will of course have a question and answer round. For that purpose, in case you want to be anonymous or you may want to ask a question by yourself, you would find on the chat forum as well as on the, if you see the participants, you will find Swati out there, and she would be our question and answer coordinator. So if you could pass on your questions, if you want to be anonymous, or pass on your names and details to her, so that when the time for question and answer comes in, we can have you on. Another part would be that when we are having our session on, since we want your entire attention to getting to know a lot of things, we would be freezing the chat window at that point of time. And the moment we are open to Q&A, we would be restarting the chat window. Just a few hygiene rules, and I felt that's the best way to start our session today. I guess Dr. Kanta has already said some beautiful words about soul strings, and me being me, felt when Menaca told me to be a part of this lovely initiative, the only things which come to my mind, frankly, are always poems. And that's why I would just want to put forth my thoughts on what, according to me, or rather what, according to us, is soul strings. Today, we start on a clean slate. Every Saturday, block your date. A variety of topics on your plate. Nobody to judge, nobody to rate. Only positivity, nothing to negate. Allow your thoughts to pour out of the gate. We do not believe in hate, nor do we want to blame things to fate. On this platform, each one is a mate. We all will sail through on roller skate. Always remember, it's never too late. So without further ado, let's not wait. Reverberate, resonate, rejuvenate. That's what Soul Strings is all about. And when we thought of, who should be the best speaker for the first session, how can we actually, hit the ball for a six right in the first session? How can we actually pass on so much wisdom, so much knowledge to our folks in terms of the first session? I guess only one name came to mind. The person whom I guess, again, taking a word from Dr. Kanta, met accidentally in Toastmasters. And today I would say is not just a Toastmaster colleague, but a very dear friend. So, there is so much that, one can introduce our speaker for today. I mean, frankly, she's already written a book. We all can write a book on her already. So I just want to keep it short and crisp and then let her do the talking. So again, if I have to describe our speaker again on purpose, though I know the cat is already out of the bag, I'm not revealing her name. An entrepreneur of thoughts, a dentist of the heart. Putting her feelings on paper is her art. Her international bestseller, Resilience Learned, was in everyone's shopping cart. A trainer par excellence and an internationally renowned speaker who stands apart. In championing the cause of women empowerment and mental health, she has always played her part. Her brain is always bubbling with ideas, like the variety in a shopping mart. Her words pierce through your heart like an ever-precise dart. Beautiful and charming, and as sweet as a tart. To be our first speaker, we needed somebody smart. Could not have found a better speaker for a start. So please welcome Dr. Menaca.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for those kind words for Dr. Kanta and Rohan. Thank you so much for everyone who is part of this community. And thank you so much for each and every team member. Without all of you, I couldn't have been here today. So a massive thank you from me.
Thank you so much, Menaca. I guess we all wouldn't have been here on this platform right now without you. So I guess to tell you what's on plans for today, right? I would want to know so much from Dr. Menaca. I guess all of you would want to know so much from Dr. Menaca. I've tried to squeeze all of this in a few questions, and I'm sure that as we go ahead, there's going to be a lot of other ideas and questions, Dr. Menaca, that are going to come your way, which you would be quite surprised, and I would be more than surprised to get some lovely words of wisdom from you. So are we ready to get going? Are we all set? Okay, great. So let's get going for our audience and for all of us. So let me first start by asking you perhaps the first question which came to my mind the moment I even got to know you better. I really want to know this beautiful journey, right? I wouldn't say an easy journey for sure, from this little Menaca in Sri Lanka to this Dr. Menaca in London, UK, to this super powerful Coach Menaca that we are right now seeing on Zoom. I mean, how have you traversed this road? Just how did you get through this? And how have you, reached and made yourself what you are today? Over to you.
Thank you so much, Rohan. To start with, I'm from very humble building, from a very small town in the northern eastern of Sri Lanka, from Trincomalee. I was very fortunate to have been really blessed with a loving, caring family. So I always dedicate everything to my grandmom, who I call lovingly mummy, and she's the mummy for the town, literally. She passed away a few years back. So firstly, before I start this, I would dedicate Soul Strings to my grandmom, if it's okay with everyone else, because she is the true inspiration behind who I am today. Because at a very young age, she taught me very important things. One being, everybody is equal. She taught me diversity and inclusion in her own way, in a very simplistic manner. She also gave me the courage and confidence to show and demonstrate anything is possible if you try. In Oprah Winfrey's words, who I am a big fan of, if you can imagine, you can create it. I guess mommy told me in her own way the same thing. So I come from a very small town, still 9 years, I almost lived in a bubble. I thought the world was perfect, and I was brought into the reality very shockingly with personal experience of the war in Sri Lanka. I'm not going to go into it in detail today because this is neither the platform nor the time to talk about it. Here we are going to be spreading positivity, inclusiveness, and bringing all the communities together across the globe, across the communities. That is the mission of this platform. I grew up with a lot of friends. Because my father is a doctor, I moved from city to city every 4 years. Guess the nature was training me early on, prepare me for what is to come. Few years later in my 20s, facing the war, after really difficult situations, including witnessing death, I left Sri Lanka to pursue my studies in India. Even though there was war, that's where I really learned the art of generosity. That is where I learned cohesiveness. That is where I learned every single person, every single family, and every single community, how we are intertwined, unconsciously or consciously. Everything we say, we do, somehow, knowingly or unknowingly, affects other people far and beyond. Coming to India, I am a positive person. I was a very confident kid until up to that time. When I came to India, I thought, how different can it be? I was a big fan of Bollywood movies and the Kollywood movies, of course, the Tamil Nadu movies. And I just thought it's only half an hour to 45 minutes flight. How can it be any more different? I just thought it, in my mind, it was an extension of Sri Lanka in a way. How wrong was I? First of all, in India, you talk 23 languages. I only was used to 2 languages. Not only that, I suddenly realized I am the only person in that class who didn't study in English up to that point. I also realized I'm the oldest person in that class. Suddenly, from being a super achieving, super confident person, my persona changed. I soon realized if I had to integrate into this community, I have to do something extraordinary. I also realized when you are in Rome, be like a Rome, right? So the only way to do was to almost become like an Indian. I guess subconsciously that's what I did. I dressed like an Indian, I spoke like an Indian, and all the families loved me. They took me in with both arms. I learned the art of integration into different communities. I also learned how generous people are actually, how giving they are. Because instead of having one family, I suddenly had so many families who adopted me into their families. I became part of them. So I'm ever so grateful for all of them. And I think all that journey is what has made me today what I am. Of course, I did my dentistry, came to London, did my qualifying exams again, followed the path of dentistry because that's the only thing I knew. So I did the exams, qualified again. I still remember looking back on it. When I passed my exam, one of my senior asked me, what are you going to do? Without blinking an eye, I just said, of course I will have my own practice. Looking back, I was too bold and too naive. I had no clue. I guess entrepreneur mindset was already embedded in me without even my knowledge. Then obviously went into having relationship breakdowns, difficulties, had a massive fraud in my practice. Life threw me a lot of curveballs, but life also blessed me with so many kind-hearted people around. I am ever so blessed to have so many good-hearted friends, people who have mentored me without expecting anything in return, people who have taught me the importance of giving, caring, kindness, and compassion, and most importantly, people who have taught me how important it is to live aligned with yourself. Learning and hearing and knowing are three different things. So as a kid and in Bangalore, I learned it, what is important. When I came to the UK and became a dentist and became a trainer and was teaching other dentists and having a business, I knew what to do. But after a few years, only when I was diagnosed with burnout, hit my lowest point, felt lonely, and almost lost everything what I had, that's when I actually understood the importance of self-acceptance. I guess that's where journey began. And as they say, the rest is history. Here I am.
Wow. So as you rightly said, the journey has just begun. I guess, when are we having the next biopic being made on somebody whose journey has just begun? I guess you are the best contender for the same. But just hearing your words, two things really which strike my mind. One is, I guess, perhaps the biggest takeaway right now, immediately from just the beginning for me, is count your blessings.
Yeah, exactly.
We waste so much of time in terms of counting our problems, our worries. But I guess, Menaca, your experience, your small and yet so beautiful journey in life has already taught me, and I'm sure many of us will agree, that count your blessings. And also another important factor, which, I pretty much take from what you said, is that, they say when in Rome, behave like the Romans do. But I guess from what I understand from you, even when I first met you, I couldn't have said whether you're an Indian or a Sri Lankan or a British. But as you always say, you're a human first. And that's the beauty about you. So that is, making me itch to ask you my second question. And that's, how did this whole idea or this thought of giving back to the society come? I mean, you've been a dentist, so you're more into, you're looking at the commercial angle out there. You have a family to support. When did this idea or thought strike your mind that, this society which has given me so much, now's the time, or I feel the urge to give something back to them? Yes, Menaca, would love to hear your thoughts.
Thank you, Rohan. So when I was in high school, I was really blessed. One of my teachers founded something called a Trincomalee Women's Welfare Organization to support women who have been affected by war, basically women-led families, I can call them. That's how I got involved in that. And my mom obviously became the part of it. She is the social butterfly. She's the PR agent of the family. Wherever there is a forum, she's always part of that, as mothers do. My daughter is actually right now listening to this because we drag our children into it, right? That's what we do. Like that, I was dragged into the same project. Of course, I couldn't say no to my mom nor to my teacher. That's how I started my journey. But as I started doing that, I really enjoyed it. I could also see the other side of the coin, how people are grateful for one meal, how people are grateful just to have a job, how people are grateful just to have that second-hand clothes for them handed out. I guess my journey started from there. And when I went to Bangalore, some of my friends are here who studied dentistry with me. Radhika is there. We used to do a lot of work in slums as dentists. We used to go and do it. And then it really teaches you. They didn't need a 5-star meal. They didn't need the luxuries to be happy. They were still giving. Even if they had a small biscuit, they were happy to share it with many people around them. I guess that was another impetus for me to learn the nature of giving and the importance of giving. And then, of course, the British culture, it's very much imbibed in it, the nature of giving and sharing and promoting health, promoting education for the wider world. And I guess I accidentally landed in the right place. After going through the difficulties myself, I even understood the value of giving much more. As they say, there is science behind it to say, like how we have adrenaline or how we feel good factor from our exercise or from partying, it also gives you fulfillment by giving, by helping out, by being there for someone. So after all, altruism is not so much of altruistic, I guess. That's my story.
Wow. What better period than the month of August, which stands quite synonymous with this. Beautiful. So as they say, I've just heard again that, it runs in the blood. I guess you're the best example for that as the legacy which has come ahead. And I'm sure it's only going to be carried forward beautifully. It's making me more interested to even one day, have your mom come and share her thoughts with us, because that's where this all began. Beautiful. So now that I guess our audience and all of us know you a lot better, know your journey a lot better, what better time to now ask you the question about why we are here, right? How did this idea of soul strings actually take birth? What has been the driving force behind it? Because whenever I think of you, I only think of unique ideas. I've never seen a run of the mill out, thing coming from you. So where do you get? What do you eat? Whom do you meet? I want to be there with that.
Thank you so much, Johan. I guess it's all down to community. As Jim Rohn says it best, you are the average of 5 people you surround yourself with. I guess I've been blessed with those 5 people around me. I have been a speaker for a while now, and I've spoken in different platforms. Somehow I felt most of the platforms I have spoken in, it was more success oriented, more business oriented. As I previously said, Oprah Winfrey, my role model. For people who know me, they all know I speak from my heart. I connect from my heart. If I don't connect properly, I am courageous enough to walk away. For me, 3 years back, I was suddenly thinking about, I used to write a lot at that time. I was thinking, what is really missing is the open conversations, heart-to-heart conversations, where normal people like you and me, ordinary people who have had extraordinary lives, are really not brought into a platform to show what they have gone through, what they have achieved, how they have transformed. And there's so much to offer to everyone. It is good to look up and learn from the superheroes we look up to, but I think it is equally valuable to learn from people like ourselves to see how they have coped with things, what they learned, and how they have transformed their own lives. So that's the reason this platform was formed. Actually, I wanted to keep the group's name Heart to Heart Conversation, but it was too long. And then someone suggested Dil Se. For people who don't understand Hindi, Dil Se means from the heart. But I really wanted this to be an international platform. And as you rightly said, I am a combination of 3 cultures. I am partly Sri Lankan, partly being Indian, and partly British. So I just wanted it to reflect on my platform. Hence, we went with Soul Strings. Hope that kind of tells what it is all about.
Absolutely. I guess that is already playing all the right strings in our soul. And, my next question was pretty much in your answer. And even when I was going through your book, as well as reading about you, see, and whatever I know about you, I know you're very passionate when it comes to resilience, mental health. Those are your drivers, if that's what you put in your driving seat. But my thought comes is the kind of people, now being a coach, a trainer, a great speaker, the kind of people that you actually interact with, as you rightly said, they're more about success, money, fame, and there's nothing else, which they end up seeing. Many of us would have, are pretty much a part of that. And when we are blinded by all of these needs, how do you ignite this passion in such kind of people? What's your strategy? What's your route to reach their soul in terms of something like that? It must be very difficult.
Yes, I guess nothing wrong with the success, because I was that person who was aiming for success all the time. I was brought up to believe you have to get 10 out of 10, only then it is successful. I was never good enough, and it was always a step ahead. So I am all for success. There's nothing wrong with success. However, we don't often understand what is success for ourselves and what is success for others. I guess the issue is in that, because for someone, success is having $1 million in the bank. For someone, the success is in traveling the world. For someone else, the success is just having that cup of coffee and having that heart-to-heart conversation with someone. And for someone, it's just having the manicure, pedicure, or facial and just relaxing. So who are we to say what is success and how success should be defined for someone else? And secondly, when we chase success, we often chase success around us. The reason I became a leadership coach because I strongly believe success, happiness, fulfillment, everything starts from within you. So that's the reason I am all for mental health and resilience, because if you don't work on yourself, if you don't take time out to know yourself, and if you don't align with yourself, whatever you're doing, and life will always throw curveballs at you. How many of you here have experienced death or loss, relationship breakdown, or financial loss, a business collapsing? Thank you, Radhika. Thank you, everyone. We all have gone through it, right? But somehow we go through life expecting it to be a bed of roses. We are somehow surprised when it is thrown at ourselves, because we only see problems as statistics. It is for always for somebody else, never for ourselves. I guess that's the reason I talk about resilience and mental health. I also have a personal reason, because I wouldn't say suffered. I personally had mental health issues. I personally had burnout and hit the lowest point. And the one thing what you believe at that time is you almost feel that that is the end of the tunnel. You really cannot see the light. So I want to give hope to those who are in that place right now and tell them, please look at me, you can turn around. There's always life in the end of the tunnel. Please make sure you reach out, be with people who support you, show kindness and compassion for people who are going through it. And together, we can definitely see that light through the tunnel.
Wow. I guess, I wish the Oxford Dictionary actually knew that success has so many different meanings, because, it was so beautifully put by you that, what it may mean to me, what it may mean to you may be so different. And the whole idea is we all are yet working towards that, which, you quite beautifully put it as our success and success around us, right? There are so many issues, Menaca, which are doing the rounds, and I guess the list of problems and issues in the world, I guess, are ever growing, and we all are, keep just thinking about it and worrying about it. My point is, why mental well-being as the theme for our session today? Of course, you showed your experience in terms of wherein, you've already, gone through that and you're so passionate. But, why do you feel that this is so relevant today, and why should we begin this lovely platform on this note?
Thank you, Rohan. According to WHO, depression and mental health is the biggest disability right now in the world. 1 in 4 of us suffer from mental health issues at one time or the other. So if we take 20 of us, 5 of us have it. We speak, we don't speak, we express, we don't express. We want to share that information with someone or not is secondary. But the most important thing is it is prevalent. But somehow we are very reluctant to talk about it. We want to hide. There's a huge stigma around that. Right now, I'm also working with Tamil's Helpline, a Sri Lankan organization. Through COVID-19, we have been taking calls. There have been suicides. There have been different issues. Very, very often, I come across and speak to people who have these problems, but very reluctant to come out and say it. I'm sure it is not just for us. It is for all the communities. Because I also work internationally with different background. I worked with people from Canada, from New Zealand, from Morocco. If you listen to the stories, might be the way they express and the language is different. If you peel the onion, underneath it all, it's all the same things. So hence, I think it is time. It's really time. As a community, we wake up and do something about it. And I think the best way to sort any problems out or find solutions is by conversations. And I want this to be the platform where those conversations happen, being open, be vulnerable. There's strength in vulnerability. So I want to be that example to openly say, yes, I did have it. Yes, I'm not perfect. Yes, I had many failures. Hoping other people will be also come forth and be able to share their problems, their difficulties, and ask for help and advice from those around them. And for people who are advising and offering that support, they are also enlightened how they can support, how they can be more compassionate and show kindness, so that as a community across the globe, we aim to have population with no mental health difficulties. But even if we do have, there's no definitely no stigma attached to it.
Lovely. I mean, the whole thought which comes to my mind after hearing it is that, we speak about being so outgoing, we speak about being so outspoken, but there are certain topics and which are, which really shouldn't be a stigma as such, are considered one, and which frankly, what ends up is just we start talking to ourselves, we just, keep it within ourselves, and when, the right time, by the time the right time actually arrives, we feel it's too late, we worry about it. I guess beautiful. I guess you have absolutely set the tone and absolutely built the right platform where I'm sure that each and every person will be able to gain some benefit out of this for sure. Because, as a very famous saying goes, where they say, when the life throws eggs at you, make an omelette. But the problem is most of us are worried at that point in terms of counting those eggs and how it has dirtied our shirts and dresses, etc., rather than worrying about that. Menaca, a question which immediately just randomly has struck my mind is perhaps one of the things which I have noticed around is that all of us, we feel, okay, great, good thought, we should do all of this. But then the worry comes, and it's a worry for me, I would say personally as well, is that what could I as one person do? I am just a drop in the ocean, right? I mean, what I do or whatever is not going to make any major difference to anybody's life or something, for bringing about a change, for bringing about a revolution, you need so many people. So I want to understand from you, because you've done it single-handedly. You've actually, turned this into a topic which is so important and made us realize and know what we already knew, but somehow didn't want to talk or discuss about it. So I just wanted to understand what small steps or, where can be that starting point, maybe in our daily lives, in working towards being more mindful, rather, I would say, towards mental health and things like that. Certain small steps, because I'm sure many of our audience members will also have this question in mind is, where do I start? How do I start? What should is the first thing that I should do? Please, Menaca, please enlighten us on that.
Thanks, Rohan. I would start by saying no man is an island. We are a collective of human beings. Who best to quote rather than Mahatma Gandhi? He says, be the change you want to see in the world. People who have listened to my speeches in the past, they know I normally finish with that quote. The reason being, even in my coaching academy, in my company, the tagline goes saying, be the change. Because I think we always expect others to change. We want to see the change in the society, in the world, in the community, in countries. But why don't we start the change from ourselves first? Because that will be the right way. Look at Martin Luther King. Look at Mahatma Gandhi. Because it all started from themselves, just one person, one drop at a time. And we know that there's ripple effect. So might be it is 30 people today here, 30 people, 40, 50. Those, all you have to do is to go and influence just one person. That would be 100. Before you know it, it will be in millions. That's the reason I think it is important to start with ourselves. Don't wait for somebody else to do something. Instead, just start with yourself. If you start and collaborate with others, communicate with others, then sky is the limit. You can keep growing, keep moving, and keep encouraging and empowering others. And what you can do, what are you expecting the other person to be? That is the most important question. So most of the time, we want other person to listen to us. We want the other person to understand us. We want the other person to be kind, compassionate, and show empathy to us. So reverse it and be that person, become that person, and compare yourself only with yourself. Don't beat yourself up saying that you didn't do all this time, because that's the gift of God or universe, whatever you call it. We all get 24 hours, and there is a sunrise every single day, and there's a renewed 24 hours every single day. So we have been given the gift of a day again and again repeatedly, hoping perhaps we will do something better, we will do something different, try to become the better versions of ourselves.
Beautifully put there, Menaca. I guess it's high time that people realize that the best person that you can be compared to is your previous self, rather than wanting to be compared to the world. Thank you so much for those beautiful pearls of wisdom, if I may want to call it. And that's what takes me to my next question, because again, I'm pretty much aware, and you yourself said that you've spoken and interacted with people from Canada, from the US, from various parts of the world, and they are so different. Our society is so dynamic. So I want to know from you that in terms of this dynamic society, who do you think so should be the ones speaking about mental health? Who should be the ones? So what I wanted to understand is, with the society being so dynamic, who should be these pioneers of mental health? Who should be the people who should speak about it, so that we can actually bring about a collective change?
My challenge to everyone is, who shouldn't speak about it? Every single person should speak about it, as a child, as an adolescent, as an adult, as a teacher, as a doctor, as a nurse, as an engineer. We need to speak about it everywhere and anywhere possible, because mental health is the most democratic disorder we can come across. It doesn't discriminate. It can be an actor, as many of you know. Very recently, we lost a very popular actor in India due to mental health issues. Amongst our community, we know we have lost a lot of professionals, doctors, dentists. And even in Caucasian communities, we have lost children, we have lost mothers, housewives, we have lost fathers. We have also lost people from all walks of life. So it is one disorder, definitely doesn't discriminate anyone. So that's the reason it is a topic for each and every one of us to talk about. Please don't wait till you become something or someone else becomes something. Like I said before, be that person who talks about it more. Bring that awareness. Everything starts from awareness, right? When you become aware of it, then you bring awareness to the other people, hoping they will also bring that awareness to someone else. All you have to do is just that one person. If you keep waiting, for example, if I kept waiting for this platform to start till I get like 500 people, this platform would never start. I would never be able to speak about mental health. So start with whatever you have. Even my coaching business, I started very humbly with one person at a time. And my very first coachee, was not a non-paying coachee. And I'm proud of it. I'm not ashamed to say it, because you always start from that first step. Like that, even about mental health, be that person who speaks about it. Be that person who encourages someone, and be that person who encourages somebody else to speak up as well.
My God. So I guess you're already the person who's being that person and making us realize and learn that how we need to be that person. So Menaca, what do you feel is actually lacking in today's society when we speak about mental health? What are those ingredients which are missing? Or what are those factors which you feel really need an upgrade? How can we have a version 2.0 of our society?
I love the word smile. And I guess partly because I smile a lot, and that is one thing which stands out, everyone talks about. Also, even my dental practice is called Smile 32. Somehow I relate myself to the smile a lot. So let me start for S. S is for self-awareness and self-acceptance. Aristotle said the first step for success to know yourself. Most of the time, we are so in tune with everybody else around us, but not with ourselves. We become the people pleasers, including myself. We try to be the version of what everybody else expect us to be, but not what we want ourselves to be. So I guess pay attention is the one word I can tell. Please take some time out. Pay attention to who you are, what is important for you, what makes you happy, what makes you sad. Know yourself better. Take that time, because there's no business without you. There's no success without you, and there's no relationship without you. So why not invest that time and effort in knowing yourself and accepting yourself? Secondly, be motivated. M is for motivation. Be motivated to know what motivates you. So in other words, for me, freedom is very important. Guess that's the reason I'm doing what I'm doing, because I can say what I want to say, I can do what I want to do, and within limits, of course, and I can impact on someone how I want to impact on. But that might not be the case for somebody else. For them, stability might be the most important thing. So understand that. What is your motivating factor? Like we said before, might be for some people, having that £1 billion, $1 billion in the bank account is the motivating factor. I'm all for that. Go for it. I have no problem. But understand it first before chasing something. Because most of the time what happens is, particularly I work with a lot of professionals, and they are so busy chasing a goalpost, and then they get there and they're really not happy, because they never took the time to understand and know what is important for them. So I think that's the importance of knowing what motivates you and then go after it. Then I is for integration. Like you rightly said, it is about people around you. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Don't go after titles, how much bank balance they have, or what they are going to offer. Instead, go for people who are going to be there. So some of you have been coached by me, and you know that I tell this all the time. Surround yourself with those 5 people who will be there with you when you don't have any titles, no bank balance, no relationships, and down in the dumps. Those are the 5 people you really want to surround yourself with. Because I have been really blessed. A few of them are in this platform today listening to it. They have been there in my darkest times, in my lowest moments, supporting me, encouraging me, and telling me everything will be okay. So integrate with people who accept you for who you are and encourage you and empower you to who you want to become. Then L is for learning. Learning is a never-ending saga as far as I'm concerned. Even research suggests if you at least spend a few minutes learning something new, you are less likely to suffer from Alzheimer's, depression. It is good for your mental health. It's good for your relationships. Just take time for yourself. Even it can be a hobby. It can be a photography. It can be weaving. It can be, cake making. Really doesn't have to be something great, but do something, learn something, whatever is helpful for you. And then of course, E is for energy. Energy is about take time to do something. Physical exercise is good for you. Meditation is good for you. Mindfulness is good for you. Nutrition is important for you. And in the digital era, it won't be complete until I tell digital detox is also important for you. Because most of us, rather than saying hello or good morning to our partners and children, how many of us actually wake up and first thing we see is our phone? I'm sure like many of us do, right? So there's a secret. So at least make sure you detox yourself 1 hour before you go to sleep. And please spend more time with people rather than digital devices. Have real communication, have proper conversations, but be open. Have those conversations from the heart. Because sometimes I find, I have been in many platforms, amongst many groups, sometimes you feel the conversations are very superficial. It's all about what we gained and how successful we are. Who are we telling that to? Who are we trying to attract? So next time when you are trying to have those conversations and creating communities, please step back, take a moment, and think what you're trying to achieve.
That is so smilingly put, if I may say that.
Thank you.
Menaca, I guess, your last sentence really struck or made me think of the next question, right? I'm going out of the book this time. The whole idea being here is that, if I'm talking to generation 2K, if I'm talking to today's generation, frankly, having, seen kids in the family and, in and around, I'm talking to a generation of today's youth who can't even sit peaceful for 5 minutes, right? This is the quick service generation. They want 2 minutes Maggie noodles. They want everything, reaching them within seconds. They don't have patience. So for this kind of an audience, I would really want to know what are Menaca's top five, the quick five mantras which you feel will work for this generation.
I think we have to be very careful when we talk about one single generation, because I didn't even have a computer. I didn't even have a phone until my 30s, almost 20s. Yes, I did have a pager, shows my age once upon a time. If we can get so addicted to those devices, these kids are born and raised with those devices. I think we have to be really careful before pointing a finger at someone else, another generation. Please point the finger at ourselves, because we are the role models for the next generation. How much time are you spending in social media? How much time are you spending in your digital devices? And how much time are you pretending to do something what you're really not? I guess it has to start from there. But for many of you who have heard Simon Sinek speaks, he always says, the next generations are not modeled and robotic and they just landed in the universe. We have created them. So I think we have to take at least some responsibility for them and for their behavior. I think that is why these conversations are also really important, to make us understand from a very young age, tell them why. Because I think we are from a generation, we were told what to do, but we were hardly told why. And I think in many respects, including my own daughter, I think they are so much more intelligent and more analytical about things. They don't buy our stories for the sake of, my parents said yes, my dad said yes, my mom said yes, my uncle and aunt said yes. So that doesn't happen anymore. They would always ask why. Actually, when my daughter was very young, my mom used to tell, she used to call her Miss Why, because she used to always ask the question why. And it was very new for my mom, because she was not from that generation. But it is really important. Curiosity is a good thing. I guess the power is in us to make them realize why they shouldn't do what they should do and why they should do more of what they should do. So tell them why it is important, the skill of communication and conversations, not only having for the relationships to come forward, even in their work environment, even in their universities, because those are the skills which is going to take them through difficult times. Explain to them and teach them, and also encourage them to become who they want to become. Because even in my culture, like, we are so much into doing medicine, engineering, becoming a solicitor, accountant, like 5, 6, we have a list. And if box is not ticked, that's not worth doing, almost. So encourage them to do anything they want, because it's really, really important. Because if we give what they need and what they want, perhaps they will take the time and energy to know and understand what we are telling them as well.
My God, I guess, this takes me back to those memories when I used to ask some whys to my parents, and the answers that I got from them, I really don't want to mention them at this point. But yes, I completely agree. This is the generation which is having so much more information and wants to know so much more, and also have been given the right opportunities. But as you rightly said, it's all about channelizing the energies in the right way. So I'm just being conscious of time. So, I just want to squeeze in one quick question in that regard, because I can already see a lot of hands up and a lot of questions coming your way. So be prepared for that. What I want to know is that for our audience today, if I have to summarize our session on the whole, what are the takeaways? What do you feel, are those virtues that we can actually, go back home and mull over it and feel, yeah, this is what I took away from this very well spent hour?
I would give 5 tips.
Okay.
Take at least 5 to 10 minutes to break from your routine and do something different. So may it be a walk, may it be do something what you like, a photography or cooking, really doesn't matter. Take at least 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes to be still and be in silent. It's the most underused antidote, I think, for mental health. It is really, really important, that quietness, that stillness, it will do wonders for you. At least take 5 to 10 minutes to speak to somebody you love, have a good relationship with someone, because focus on the energy you spend rather than the time you spend. So just spend that 5-10 minutes, because research again suggests that conversations, that communication, that relationships will really help you in your mental health. At least for 5 minutes, at least do some kind of physical activity. Go for a walk, jog, do whatever you want, but at least have some kind of physical activity for 5-10 minutes. The last 5 minutes is to do what you enjoy, what you love. That's your me time. Read a book, learn something new, go for that long drive, do whatever you want, but please take out that time to do something for yourself. And the last 3 words I would say before I finish for everyone is, please show up for yourself, stand up for yourself, and speak up for yourself and for those around you who really can't speak up, show up, and stand up for themselves.
Lovely, Menaca. I guess, as they say, that all good things come in small packages. I guess right now we've had already a plethora of ideas and thoughts flowing by, right? People have already got more than what they asked for. But if people would want to connect with you in the future, maybe they would want to get coached by you, or, have a training session with you, how can they get in touch? How can they actually get to know all of this more?
My website is easy. It is menaca.co.uk. It's simple. Of course, please feel free. If you want to communicate, I always give a free session to begin with, because I don't believe in working with everyone. I am not for everyone, and not everyone is not for me. So we have to find whether it's the best fit so that I can provide everything for you, how you want it to be. So please feel free to reach out, and I'll do as much as I can to help you out.
Excellent, excellent. I guess everyone has the coordinates, and I'm sure you're going to be flooded with a lot of people wanting to know so much more about what I feel is the most relevant and the most least discussed topic, if there's such a word, right, which is mental health. So I guess, Menaca, I will now move on to our questions, right? For starters, I guess one of the first hands which I saw being raised in terms, and I could see that enthusiasm coming right there. I guess that's Rashmi, if I have not mistaken. Rashmi Chavan, am I right, ma'am? So can I ask you to, I'll just unmute you if you may want to ask the question yourself. Okay, I shall just do that. Or can you please unmute yourself?
Hi.
Hi, what's the question?
Well, my question was, how is it that how are we able to sustain what we kind of learn? How do we kind of retain it? Because it's very easy for, especially when you're in a situation, to go into a loop. So what's the best way of, sustaining this? The best tip?
Thanks, Rashmi. Thank you so much. It's such a good question and an important question. Thank you. So as you rightly put it, we are in a loop most of the time. We are on an autopilot. We get up from the same side of the bed. We get into the car the same way. We take the same route. We get really upset, right? How many couples actually argue because we have slept in the wrong side of the bed? We are so fused to our ideas and our routines. The only way to change it is by breaking that loop. For example, what happens is, the mind, the way it works is, when I am stressed about something, I normally call myself a chocoholic dentist. So let me go from that. So when I get stressed, probably I had that piece of chocolate and I really felt happy. The mind is only trying to help you. So what the mind says is, next time when you're stressed, it looks out for the signals, right? Your heart rate becomes more, you're sweating, you're anxious, your headache, your churning of your thing, or your throat becomes stiff. For everyone, it's different things. And suddenly the mind thinks, poor person, let's get into that autopilot mode and help that person. And it shows you the signal, please reach out for some chocolates. So we start having that chocolate and we feel better. So we start in a loop, and then we get more and more addicted into the same thing, and we don't know any different. So that's the reason it is important to know what is important, but it's equally important to take action and break that loop. So what can you do? Next time, when you're about to reach to that chocolate, you can think, hang on a minute, that's okay, I want to have the chocolate, why do I want to have the chocolate? There was a wide research done. The outcome of the research was, when they did it with the smokers, all that they said is you can smoke as many cigarettes as possible. That's okay. But what you have to do is, you shouldn't be doing anything else while you're smoking. In a nutshell, you have to pay attention, because most of the time we are doing 3 things, 5 things at the same time. The research suggests most of them didn't want to smoke after that. When they paid attention, they knew the difficulties. One person even told she doesn't even understand why can't she smoke, and how can she even tolerate that smell and the taste of it. It's just taking that moment, pausing and understanding, and also try to see what is happening behind the scenes. It's usually a lot of emotions, or somebody said something to you, or you have gone through an experience, but we hardly stop and see what's happening or pay attention. Instead, we just jump in and just try to do it. So next time, perhaps you can stop and think why you are doing what you are doing, and also try to replace it with something else. So I guess instead of reaching out for the chocolates, I could just go for a walk, I can speak to my friend, or I can do my hobby. Take a piece of paper, start painting, reading, photography, whatever you want. Maybe try something different. And then when you start, practice makes perfect, right? Every time you start doing it, it is positively reinforced. And then you are retraining the mind to say, if you do that, you'll still have the same effect. Does that answer your question, Reshma?
Yeah, very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rashmi. And thank you, Menaca, for just pouring your heart out and answering this question so beautifully. And I'm sure, as Rashmi said, this will really help out in clearing all her thoughts about the same. Thank you. From what I understand from the team is that we have time for a maximum of 2 more questions. And from what I've been told is that one of our audience members is already ready with the next question. Swati, I guess there's a question from you. Can we hear you, Swati? Can you please
she's
unmute
muted.
yourself? Waiting to hear you.
Hello, good evening, Dr. Menaca.
Good evening.
Dr. Menaca, is it really required when a person gets into some sort of low or in depression that medicines is the only solution to get out of it?
It is a very complex question and an important question. It comes with the disclaimer in bold letters that I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist. I have taken medication myself, and I am never reluctant to say that. But I don't think it's never the single solution. Like, for example, in habits as well, what you do is important, but it is equally important what you don't do. For example, if you're diabetic, you take the medication and you eat sugar every day and a lot of carbs, what will happen? Like that, just take medication and then you don't look after yourself. You stress yourself 24/7. You don't have sleep hygiene. You don't sleep enough hours. You are in the digital media all the time. You are not happy with yourself. You're not surrounding yourself with positive people. It's not going to work. I am not saying medication has to be taken or shouldn't be taken. Only for that particular reason, I'm not qualified enough to say that, because I know it is an international platform. Everyone is listening to what we say, and I think we have to take responsibility for what we say here. I'm not saying you should take it or you shouldn't take it. However, I can't stress enough, everything else what you do other than the medication is equally important. Does that answer your question, Swati?
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swati. And I guess these words of wisdom are perhaps the best medicine we all are getting today. Thank you so much, Menaca, for answering that so beautifully. So we have time for one last question for today's session, and I guess that's going to be from Kishore. Kishore, can I please have you unmute yourself to ask? I mean, of course, there are a lot more, but I would have to keep limited to 3 questions today. My apologies for the same. Yes, Kishore, can we have you unmuting yourself, please?
Hi, 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 Menaka.
Hi.
Thank you for the wonderful platform and wonderful talk session. It was a great. I have a question at this moment. Let me make it crisp because we are running out of time.
Okay.
So, what will be the message for people right now? The situation due to COVID, it is very hard for everyone, all the industry, whether from the employed or employer, or the normal people, is facing for them. People are getting into depression, as well as people has much time to think many things by sitting at home.
Mhm.
So at this moment, how it to take up and what will be the message from your side? That's my question.
I think the most important thing what has thrown everybody out is because we have lost control with what we can do. I guess we have been, the freedom has been curtailed with a, may it be lockdown, or may it be losing jobs, or may it be not being able to do what we want to do. I think that's the first point. We have to understand sometimes it is the way it is, and we have to accept the situation for what it is. And instead of asking the question why, probably we could ask what we can learn from it. Why this, why that? We could probably ask the what can we do at this point of time? What can we learn from it? And what can we do to grow and develop ourselves? Some of you might know, I started my group online coaching only after COVID-19. That thought was in my mind for a long time, but I never implemented it. So you could perhaps, all this time, I'm sure many of you would relate to me. We always said we don't have enough time. That was a major complaint we had in our life, because we don't have time to do this or that. And now the COVID-19, in fact, has given us enough time. Utilize that time and do something better. And Oprah Winfrey again says it best, be grateful for what you have. Because when you wake up, we have a meal on our plate, we have a roof over our head, we have people to speak to. Not many people still don't have it. We are healthy. We might have some of the illnesses, but we still have 2 legs, 2 hands. We can walk, talk. So be grateful for whatever we have. And I think that is the reason coming forward, we will be bringing more people who will perhaps speak about the importance of being in the present. Forget about the past, because the reason we are also lost is because we are thinking about 10 years, 20 years down the lane, or 10 years down the lane. First, think what you can do right now at this moment and make the most of it. And every minute is precious.
Lovely. Kishore, I hope that has answered your question perhaps to the best that I have seen in a while.
Absolutely.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Kishore. Thank you, ma'am. So now I guess, Dr. Menaca, as I said even a while back, right, all good things come in small packages. And today we've only taken our first baby step. And there are many further steps which are going to come. This is, as you rightly said, not just the beginning of your journey, but the beginning of SoulString's journey as well. So before I hand over to Dr. Mamta to please do the vote of thanks, I would actually want to take this opportunity for all our audience members to introduce to them what's coming their way in the next session. So our next speaker for the next session, first and foremost, I guess we all are aware by now that Saturday afternoon for some, evening for some, right? Please keep it already blocked in all your calendars. This is going to go on and on and on. This is going to be like your favorite serial whose episode you cannot miss, right? So our next speaker next week is going to be Dr. Padmakshi Lokesh. She's a doctor by profession and a philanthropist by passion, a clinical psychologist and a behavior management specialist. And I'm not going to reveal much because this is just the tip of the iceberg. I want to let certain things be for the next meeting. So to know more about her, to listen to her views and thoughts on perhaps another very, very important topic today, and that's adolescence and addiction. Perhaps again, a major worry in so many of our societies. So don't forget to be there next Saturday, same time, same place. So over to you, Dr. Mamta.
Hi, everybody. Hope it was a very wonderful session. It was a very power-packed session about the mental well-being. So I would like to thank Dr. Menaca Pothalingam ma'am for this for all her inputs in this session. And yeah, I just would like to say a few words about her. Her journey of life is very, very inspiring, not only to me, to many people across the globe. From a girl next door in Sri Lanka to a well-recognized dentist, a global speaker, international speaker, and of course, I would like to add on this, an author of the bestseller, and for me, she's like more like a healing soul for me, because I feel she's got that sense of extrasensory perception, which she can, guess people where, and if somebody is in trouble, she can immediately give a call, and without saying a word, without me saying a word, she's got that ESPN. And yeah, we've been attending her classes, coaching classes as well, and it has tremendous use. In fact, she transforms the struggles into, all the struggles into the strength. And thank you so much for all your wonderful inputs. And I would also like to extend my thanks to Dr. Kanta Niranjan ma'am for her introduction about the soul strings. Also, the co-host, Rohan, you were absolutely delightful, especially your poetic introduction about man and the way you handled the show. It was simply superb. I would also like to extend my thanks to the team members who have put their heart, mind, and soul, especially Kishore, Sujit, and Swati, who are really behind the Soul String team. Thank you so much. Looking forward for some more sessions which are power-packed. And we'll be updating you about the topics shortly, and kindly we would like to accept the feedbacks from you about this show. Thank you so much. Keep smiling, stay safe, have a good day.
Okay, the last words for me. Thank you so much for each and everyone, each team member, Rohan, Kanta, Mamta, Kishore, Sujit, and each and every audience. I know particularly on a Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, time is really precious. Immense gratitude from bottom of my heart for everyone for attending. See you next time. Until then, stay safe, be happy, and keep smiling.
The meeting is officially closed now. And people who have any questions, you can raise, and I think host can, Menaca can answer it. You can unmute yourself. We are unmuting everyone now. I think Dr. Sandil is, yeah, Dr. Sandil is unmuted.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, hello, my friends. It's wonderful meeting you all. Thank you. So here from my heart, and it's a really wonderful afternoon, spending 1 hour with you all, especially hearing Menaca's personal experience, personal journey, how she has taken her life forward, moved on, and with that positivity. And I really commend her and my accolades for her enthusiasm to share her experience to all of us and spread the word. And I hope that we all took lots of messages, and there's nothing in the world unless you open up and see it's full of positivity. Okay, it's up to us to seek, and that's what Menaca is pointing us to. We should take this message and spread around. And I wish you all a good weekend, and wish Menaca great success in connecting the souls, making us connect heart to heart, as she really initiated the theme, the name of the group to be. Good luck to you all. Thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Senthil. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I would like to unmute Mr. Kamrul.
Here is almost 10 p.m. Good evening.
Good
We
evening.
celebrate here Eid ul Adha.
Eid Mubarak.
Mubarak, everybody. I am from
Eid-
Bangladesh.
Okay. Eid Mubarak to you.
Eid Mubarak.
Thank you, Mr. Kamrul.
Thank you.
Dr. Sujan, Dr. Sujan wants to
Of
please
course,
unmute yourself.
by all means.
Just to tell you, everybody who is there, that I am being blown away by the mind-blowing wisdom of Menaka, and lots of congratulations to you, Menaka.
Thank you.
And before, I think I heard Rohan saying that as an individual, we cannot bring a change to the world. In this context, I would like to say something. Little drops of water, little grains of sand, make the mighty ocean and the pleasant land. So the little minutes, humble though they be, make the mighty ages of eternity. So you can appreciate how powerful a single drop of water can be, or a single drop of sand. So my question now to Menaka is, how do you control your mind?
Thank you so much, Sujan. And I know Sujan has so much of knowledge and wisdom. So I'm very humble that you're asking me a question. I wouldn't say I have mastered it, but I have definitely making progress in that field. In mindfulness, there is a practice called the hourglass practice. You might be aware of it. So whenever you are really stressed, you stop for a minute and try to understand your emotions. What is it happening? Because most of the time we want to just chuck it away, block it, or run away from it. If not, then we want to fix it. The immediate action is only 2 of them. So instead of that, just stop and understand and see it for what it is. And then start breathing. Noticing your breath going through your lungs, your nose, and you put your hand on your tummy and see how it works. And breathe in and breathe out. And then focus just on your breath. That is the narrow bit of the hourglass. You just focus on that. So you count to 10, take in, hold it for 10, breathe out for 10, and take a break for 10. So that's a box breathing, 4 things, separate things. And then the bottom of the glass is you expand that breathing for the entire body. When you are breathing, you're not just only focusing on your breathing, but you're trying to expand it for your arms, for your legs, for your feet, where you're touching, even if you're sitting on a chair or sleeping on a bed. Be conscious how you're making contact with your environment. By doing that, particularly when you are stressed or something is thrown at you, it really makes a difference. Hope that at least partly explains that, Sujay.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Anojan is my brother, by the way.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Anojan.
Yes, fine. It's going nicely. Continue.
Oh.
I'm at work, so I couldn't.
Oh, yeah, sure. You switch off. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for dropping it.
This is Mr. Lokesh, a new join person.
Okay, Lokesh, you're a bit late to the party, but you can definitely join us in the after party. Go on. What do you want to ask?